Peace and high frequencies, everybody. Blackfoot Witch Dream Oracle is here. I just wanted to share with you all, we are in the season of transitioning. And you probably like, what does that mean in the season of transitioning? We're in a season where we will experience people that we know, people who we may be close to, friends, family members, co-workers, also celebrities, people that we see that are in the limelight, as they call it. I don't know what that means, but limelight. That's the word that came to me. Will be transitioning out of here. And we experience this every year. This happens round about the time we go into a new Gregorian year, and even all the way up to Chinese New Year in February. So you'll start to see people, and usually it starts around October, and they'll start to speed up the closer that we get into the next year. So I had a lovely co-worker of mine. She's in her 70s, and she talked to me yesterday, and she shared that she had two cousins, family members, that transitioned on the same day. So she shared with me, this was Thursday, that this happened. She said one of them passed that morning and one of them passed that evening. And while she was talking to me, that was the only thing that kept coming to mind, is like, oh. And I had already shared with another co-worker, ex-co-worker, used to be a co-worker. He called me last week and was sharing with me, he was out at the bar drinking or whatever. And he was sharing with me that his sister was really sick. His mom transitioned last year, like 2 days before his solar return. And so he was just sharing with me, they was going through this time where his sister really said she probably won't make it. And I told him the same thing that I'm sharing with you. I said, this is the time of the year we have to prepare ourselves, because people end up transitioning out. And he was like, you sure right. He was like, you sure right. And even when I told my other coworker yesterday about this energy of this time of the year of people transitioning out, she was like, yes. Everybody kind of knows this. This is something that happens, and we see it all the time. It just becomes a little bit more startling when it actually happens to us. But usually it'll start somewhere within September or October. We'll start to hear people transitioning. I think it was last year, maybe year before last, where we received a lot of celebrities that were transitioning. And I remember it plain as day. It was like, oh my God, like, ooh, they passed, ooh, they passed, ooh, they passed. And it was just like back to back. That we were getting these. So just start paying attention and seeing every year, if you haven't already. Just start paying attention and seeing people start to transition. Mostly it's sped up, where our people really start to transition at the end of the year. So saying that to say, what are we doing? Those of us who are here, because we are still here, right? We still have to go through, the losses, and our biggest thing is to fortify ourselves. Like, oh, what does that mean? Well, protection, armoring up the mind, which is first. And you may be like, well, how do I armor and protect my mind? Well, coming into an understanding of knowing what transitioning actually is, to bring yourself to a state of peace. When someone says, either tells you they are getting ready to transition out of here, because sometimes older people may tell you, or even saying having a phone call where you receive a call of someone that's close to you that has transition. Because the initial shock of it may want you to keep yourself in your physical body, right? But then you elevate to a higher mind and to your higher self, and then you understand that that person has elevated, possibly. We don't really know. That's where the mindset comes with heaven and hell, because they and what they call purgatory, because sometimes people could be in between realms. And I'm only sharing this because these are things that I've seen as what I call a spiritual transition doula, whatever title you want to put on it. But I've seen how people transition in between spaces, that they're not quite anywhere. And I first saw it with my grandmother when I was about 10 years old. Then I saw it with my ex at transition when he was 35, probably about almost, it's almost been 10 years. It'll be 10 years next year, but 9 years ago. And then I saw it with my mother. I saw it with my aunt. So I've seen them transition into mid spaces. And then like with my uncle, I actually saw him in the energetic space of who he was, at his core, of what that energetic space is that he had created, of where he was. And then you have some people that transition back, of course, reincarnate back into this realm. Coming back to hell. So heaven or hell, whichever one you want to create here. But the creation space, should I call it. So you have people that come back to this creation space. And then you have some people that enjoy the movement of being like an etheric being that can move in between all different types of spaces and dimensions. And they do work in those dimensions. And then you have people who have ascended, like in Buddha, they call it a bodhisattva. People who are a bodhisattva in this realm, who are doing a lot of work for people, they end up ascending as well. And some of them choose to come back, and some of them choose not to, and they don't have to come back. But some of them choose to reincarnate back into this realm. And continue the work of a bodhisattva. So it just kind of depends on, what your destiny is already outlined, pretty much what you've already outlined for yourself, and what you're supposed to do in these various spaces. And what I was just talking to Galactic Honey about, like what we kind of were talking about, what we do here affects what we're doing there, and what we're doing there also affects what we do here. But here we have this consciousness that we can build up and become stronger. So we can be strong in those other realms and timelines that we are creating there too. So just be aware and mindful, and prepare and create yourself a safe space for receiving the news of the transitioning, but understanding it from a higher perspective of what transitioning actually is. Okay, so once we know what it actually is, it brings comfort and peace. And it actually lightens the burden on the heart of feeling so heavy. And then it takes away the you still have that human connection, because you'll never lose that human connection to a loved one that you've created memories with. But it kind of lightens that, where you see them in all things, right? So it helps. But we're always working in two different spaces. We're always working in a higher mind space, but, we're also dense physical beings too. So, we when we start to feel that heaviness, we always can reach out and tap into the higher mind. So I just wanted to share that with you all. I don't have a dream, but that was on my heart today as we are transitioning into a whole new Gregorian year. I just wanted to put that out there so people can prepare or comfort someone or be able to. And there's several books out there that helped me when my mother was going through her transitioning period that I read, and it really helped. That was referred to me from a mentor. So I'll definitely link that below. And as always, I leave you all in peace and high frequencies, everybody.